Ladies and gentlemen, this is former WCW and TNA ring announcer David Penzer, also author of Sitting Ringside Volume 1, and you are watching and listening to TNA Cross the Line podcast.
TNA Wrestling, Cross the Line.
And we're back with episode 281 of the TNA Across the Line podcast. I am Bob Colling Jr. With me, as always, is Dallas Gridley. In Dallas, we are at the fallout of Against All Odds 2007. We're at the pay-per-view. Christian Cage was able to retain the NWA World Championship by defeating Kurt Angle with some help from a lead pipe that Scotty Steiner decided to whack Kurt Angle over the head with it. And on this episode of Impact, as we've noted leading into this, we're going head-to-head with the second hour of Raw. And after looking it up, Donald Trump, the current United States president here in 2025, is invading Raw. So Dallas, how are we feeling coming out of Against All Odds and the likelihood that Impact would even be able to maintain a decent level of a rating, knowing that Donald Trump is on Raw?
Well, Against All Odds, I think we were a little bit mixed on. We didn't necessarily love it. You, in fact, gave it a thumbs down. I gave it a thumbs in the middle. I don't think we were feeling very positive after it. And now our Impact after, which usually ends up being a pretty solid show, they know they're going head-to-head with Raw. So, I mean, it makes me feel like maybe we're going to pull something really good out. Maybe we're going to do Sting versus Kurt Angle on this show. We're going to try to pop a rating. Something just big. But if TNA is the TNA I know, we're going to not do that. And we are going to do something that will make us very sad today. And then on our next episode, when we actually do talk about the ratings, it will be a lot of fun. Because we will get to see that. We'll see what happened. I don't know. It should be very interesting once we get to see that breakdown.
I'm surprised you would think they would do Kurt and Sting on this episode.
It was the first thing I could think of that would pop a rating.
Oh, okay. That's the only metric you're going for.
I mean, I feel like they try to do that anyway. So, like, knowing that they're going to go against Raw, don't you think that they'd be like, okay, we're gonna try to do something here, and even if it just pops a quick quarter hour or something, make the Spike execs happy about it, if you will.
Right. Yeah, but also I don't think you would really want to burn that match.
No.
You probably know that you're probably gonna eat it in the rating.
Well,
like no matter what you
do. Right. I would have to assume that they would think about that enough, but I guess you never know. Yeah. But yeah, coming off Against All Odds, it was definitely a show. We're going to do our full breakdown here very soon, and we will hear what Dave Meltzer had to think about it, all of his star ratings compared to our star ratings, which is pretty fun because during the Final Resolution Impact, the one I heard after that, I feel like we were pretty aligned with them. It was actually really cool to see. So we're on the same wavelength. It was pretty close. So that should be fun to kind of get into and break down. Now, before we do that, usually we kick off with Against All Odds stuff. The way the newsletter is written, there's some stuff he actually kind of writes before it. So just to kind of get some of that out of the way, I'm going to kind of essentially read from the beginning, and then we'll get to Against All Odds, and then I'll have a couple other quick things before we get into the show. So it should be a fun breakdown. So I won't do our the thumbs up, thumbs down stuff just yet. Let's hold on to that because, Bob, we got some interesting news that we're going to start off with today. And unfortunately, it has been noted here that Hulk Hogan could not be at WrestleMania here in 2007. Oh my God, I know. And Dallas, why the fuck are you telling us about Hulk Hogan and WrestleMania? Well, apparently they have started floating the idea that his representatives that have already contacted Dixie Carter. Although those close to Hogan don't expect when push comes to shove that Hogan would ever appear on TNA because of the idea it would cheapen his character. So the rumors have begun once again of the idea that Hulk Hogan could come here to TNA here in 2007. And this is, by the way, right after Hogan went on the Bubba the Love Sponge on February 8th. He made it public about this knee surgery he's getting. And he said that it appears he's no longer even with the WWE, which is why the rumors are going to start kicking up here. Now, Hogan apparently even claimed that he would be willing to feud with Vince Russo in TNA, which is pretty wild. Now, Hogan's MO since WCW folded was always to tease going to opposition or starting up in opposition, but always resulting in reconciliation with McMahon, as he seemingly knows how to push McMahon's buttons. So he's probably just kind of teasing it a bit. Now, there is a potential idea from the Spike front that Spike is trying to make a deal with Hogan because of his crossover star power in being a company face to appear at their major events and promote various television shows. Dave says, I don't know of any such talks, but that kind of idea would be a better fit in shooting angles for maybe 2 pay-per-view events a year in TNA as opposed to going to TNA. But in the end, I could see Hogan trying to figure out a way to link himself in some way to a hot UFC product. So be a little more of adding the star power to the UFC kind of thing. But it's harder to see him setting foot in a TNA ring. Within the Spike offices, Hogan's name has been discussed, but we heard nothing regarding anyone in TNA over the weekend was talking about it. Now, they did keep the Kurt Angle stuff quiet until they had already signed him. But this is absolutely wild, and you're gonna love this. By early in the week, Hogan was even floating the idea of Wrestling Society X. But that all comes across as someone more like someone who is still looking to be on this year's Mania stage than someone really looking to be the point man in spearheading opposition. Could you just soak that last part in? Hulk Hogan on a Wrestling Society X with fucking piranhas and Vampiro lighting shit on fire.
No way.
Dude.
There is no way.
It's wild.
He's literally just he's naming any company that has television.
Yes, exactly.
To be a potential competitor, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah,
he would have said Ring of Honor if they were on HDNet at this point.
You're damn right he would have.
Yeah, brother, I could see me and Nigel McGuinness having a banger. That Claudio kid, he reminds me a lot of
Andre, big tall
Andre
guy.
The Giant. I think I could slam him, brother.
Dude, that's some shit he would say too, and you know it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that Bryan Danielson, he gives me that Bret Hart vibe, and Bret Hart and I never had that dream match, and I think fans could see me and Danielson having a dream match.
Oh my god.
Clash of Styles, brother.
I'm gonna throw up.
Cattle mutilation against the leg drop. Who's gonna win, brother?
Hogan's arms and shirt too big. He can't, and he's made of stone at this point, so I don't think he can get put into the cattle mutilation.
Well, if he was in cattle mutilation, it'd be like leather tearing. His skin would just go.
His arms would snap off.
Yeah, it'd be not a pleasant sight.
It'd be wild. It's pretty funny. Yeah, so I just needed to get that out there. I don't expect anything to happen anytime soon. I don't know. 2 and 3/4 years, maybe. We'll see what happens. But
he'd be like that Tyler Black. He reminds me a lot of Shawn Michaels. I think I mean, we could have a pretty good one. I know I wrestled Sean at SummerSlam in 2005, but I think Tyler Black is an up and comer. I think the fans would love to see it. Brother, that Austin Aries, he's reminding me a lot of Macho Man. Macho Man and I.
He's got the tassels and stars, brother.
Yeah. I think he's going by Austin Starr in TNA, brother. And if he wants to be a star, there's only one way you can be a star, and that's to fight Hulk Hogan.
To be the man, you got to beat the man. That's me, brother.
Right, dude. That Jay Lethal, he's been doing some. I've heard him doing the impression, and brother, I thought it was Macho Man for real. And
he called me up, brother, and I swear to God, I thought Macho was trying to reconcile with me.
The real Macho and I, we had some classics, and Jay's a little younger, a little younger than me, and I think we could have a doozy.
Can we do a bonus episode where we watch Hogan Knows Best?
I would love to do that.
I
think there's one episode that cannot be found though.
Really?
I think so.
We'll have to check.
Or the DVD, or like the DVDs are expensive.
Well, yeah, but we can figure out ways.
We can finagle it.
In fact, maybe we'll talk off air. This is a great idea.
I would totally watch Hogan Knows Best.
I kind of just want to watch it again because it's such a ridiculous show.
Well, yeah, I remember the times when like Brooke would bring a boy over, and Hulk Hogan would just give that look like, I know you're touching my daughter. What are you doing? It's like, we're just getting ice cream. And he's like, is that code for something, brother? No, we're just getting ice cream.
So is it still airing at this time? In 2007?
2007. So what? I started.
Oh yeah.
04, 05. So yeah,
it is till October.
Yeah, there's like 3 seasons of it.
Okay, we might be onto something here, guys. We might be able to do this.
I would do that.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it. Because it makes no sense to do it, but it sounds really funny. So,
yeah, I mean, in the TNA universe, I guess it wouldn't make much sense, but
hey, we can find some kind of connection, I'm sure. I bet you there's at least one TNA star that appears in an episode. There has to be.
You think so?
They're in Florida, and I don't know. It just makes sense to me. No, they might not be active at the time.
Wait a minute. I thought it was like way more money. This is not expensive at all.
Oh, like the DVDs?
Yeah, dude. You can get, unless this is like a knockoff. No, it seems like it's legit.
See, but do they have all 4 seasons on DVD?
There's 4 seasons?
There's 4 I just saw.
Okay, so there's definitely 3. So this is Hogan Knows Best seasons 1 through 3 for $30.
Really?
Yeah.
We can be onto something here.
But why does season 4 not exist?
That's what I'm kind of wondering. That's why we might need to find this.
Yeah, no, it just says everything on, at least on eBay right now, is just 1 through 3. There's nothing for season 4.
Okay, so season 4 we will have to get digitally.
I wonder if you even can. Maybe it's like a true lost media.
It'd be pretty cool, actually. Oh, here we go, dude. It's sealed. This one's sealed. $75 for sealed. Which actually they're not even upcharging much for because it has an FYE tag on it, and it's $69.
Right. So like even with inflation, that's not
bad.
That's not
okay.
bad.
Anyways. I have some exciting news to share. I think after this one we're going to be getting into the Against All Odds stuff. So on our last episode of Impact, not our last actual episode of Against All Odds, the February 8th edition of Impact, more viewers watched TNA Impact on that show than any television show in the history of the promotion.
Wow.
So it was quite a large viewership. Now, Dave says, yet at least based on our response, which has historically been very close to on the money with the product, fewer people saw the pay-per-view 3 nights later than any show since they switched to monthly 3-hour Sunday events a few years ago. And this is kind of where he kind of goes into it. Now, I'll pause there real quick. Let me scroll down because I do have the rating stuff that he's kind of referencing. And I think this is a great time to probably throw that in here. So I said all-time viewership record with 1.6 million viewers on a rating of 1.12. They did a 1.32 in males 18 to 34, the best number that they have ever done in that demo without a UFC lead-in. They did a 0.8 in males 35 to 49. It was the highest rated show on all of cable in males 18 to 34. One of the reasons that both Raw and Impact viewership numbers were up while ratings weren't is figuring in a viewership in college dorms, which should help all pro wrestling shows as well as UFC. In the segment by segment, the LAX attack on Team 3D, the Christy Hemme Kip James angle, and the Sabin and Storm and Star versus Senshi and Lynn and Rhino gained 72,000 viewers. The Nash segment, Eric Young segment, Sting promo, and Daniels promo lost 143,000 viewers. And the final segment, which was the Styles and Christian versus Angle and Joe match, and post-match gained 86,000 viewers. So, pretty interesting to hear how that all got brought down there. We also have the we can't forget the This Is TNA special. We'll talk about that after we talk about Against All Odds, because that actually aired the day after. So hold your horses on that. Let's scroll back up here. So he notes the response was down 26% from last month for the third Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle match, which did well under the company's average level of response, and down a whopping 63% from October's Genesis show for the first Angle versus Joe match. It's not theory anymore that booking the way would make Kurt Angle meaningless as a draw. Now, the live atmosphere told the tale. Keep in mind, the crowd at the TV tapings lately has been chanting, "We want wrestling," at the promotion whose motto is, "We are wrestling," while delivering a storyline version of WCW's Dying Days, only with more hungry young wrestlers, so the matches themselves are a step up. So I will pause there before we get into our breakdown, because, Bob, we gave Against All Odds a collective thumbs down, essentially. I was in the middle, you were down, which averages to a down. What do you think the readers of the Wrestling Observer newsletter thought? Did they give it a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or a thumbs in the middle?
I'm going to say they went thumbs in the middle.
26.7% of them gave it a thumbs in the middle. And in this case, that was 27 votes. 19 people, or 18.8%, gave it a thumbs up, which means the majority, 54.5%, with 55 votes, gave it a thumbs down.
Oh, shit. I almost went thumbs down. So I was right.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
I was with the consensus.
But it's the way it's split, dude. It's kind of like us. You were down, and I was kind of in the middle. So,
right.
Pretty interesting. Of the show, what did you think got voted on as the best match?
Sabin and Lynn.
That was in third place.
Okay. The best match. What, Christian and Kurt?
It sure is. Christian and Kurt. In second place was the Prison Yard match between Sting and Abyss. Then it was Jerry Lynn and Chris Sabin, and then it was Senshi and Austin Starr. So we had a top four there. Do I need to ask you what got voted on as the worst match, or?
Well, you probably don't. But what's shocking is that there is like two major candidates for this one.
Yeah, but I think one sticks out just a little bit more.
Yeah, probably.
It's the tuxedo match, Christy Hemme versus the fat oily guy, and then it's not even close in the votes, but Dale Torborg versus Lance Hoyt was also there.
What was the voting breakdown for that?
It was 79 for Christy Hemme's and then 9 for Dale Torborg and Lance Hoyt. So it's quite separated, but pretty interesting.
I think the 9 people that voted for Torborg's were probably just like, well, Christy's hot, so.
Probably. That's probably what ended up happening. Live, Against All Odds started out good, but when Christy Hemme's opponent turned out to be the fat, oily guy from Stamford, Connecticut, in a clothes-ripping match, as Dave calls it, it should have only been a bad idea for a short segment, but the crowd never recovered. There were some good matches that followed, most notably Chris Sabin versus Jerry Lynn, that saw the crowd seem to be asleep. People did get into Kurt versus Christian Cage main event, but they did the ref bump and visionary falls and ref missing tap-out spots that are totally overdone, yet always get over live. And because they built a good match, even the predictable outside interference ended up being well-timed enough that it worked better with the crowd than it would have read. But even so, they never got the crowd anywhere close to the level you want a pay-per-view main event to be. And that's because they were starting out at a below zero level. Dave says that it's funny because I don't think the show is that bad. Certainly not to the point of the decidedly negative response we got to it. There were some bad segments, but I could sense watching the show that it was more of an overall negative vibe surrounding the promotion that was the problem. People don't like the direction of the storylines. Even the ones that are entertaining aren't working, and a lot of people in the company are fully aware. The problem this time is a lot of damage is being done. The guys who should be special, like Angle and Samoa Joe, are just cast members. Sting has been badly overexposed. Abyss has never quite gotten to where he could because of the prevailing attitude that he's the kind of wrestler you can't beat without hurting him. And to a degree, that's correct, but you can hurt him with a storyline that makes fans groan. We come out of the show with Christian, a good promo, but someone who simply can't get over as a world champion no matter how many months he's unbeaten he's been, beating Kurt Angle. This leads to Christian versus Samoa Joe at Destination X on March 11th. At some point, Joe is getting the title, but as champ, he's only got one top opponent, and they've burned people out in seeing Joe versus Angle with all the singles matches and matches that they've been tagging together.
He's right about that.
He is. Nevertheless, there are bright spots in that there was an emphasis on longer matches and more wrestling at the TV tapings the next night. So, spoiler, we're going to have more matches, apparently. And the crowd responded well to that. Now, there is a feeling that the next show will be built up significantly better, besides the main event. So, the plan for Destination X, ironically, without the X Division match headlining, is we heard the announcement was going to be aired on the This Is TNA special. The Elevation X is being announced. Now, I don't think that's headlining for reference, but it's at least being brought up. And I'm sure as we continue on with these couple episodes, we will start to see this start piecing together a little bit better. But anyways, lucky for them, in Orlando on February 11th for Against All Odds, we drew the usual full house of 900 fans. But Dave does make an interesting point here that Orlando is also a problem. These fans have seen bad TV tapings and they're losing interest. Now, in a fresh market, the pay-per-view would have had a different response. The problem is they've lost so much money promoting in Detroit, even with a full house, because the gate didn't cover the increase in expenses of producing a show on location, that doing so monthly isn't economically viable. Clearly, they are under pressure to minimize losses as much as possible, because they've kept Sting and added Kurt Angle's salary, while at the same time, they've only had 2 above-average pay-per-view events, to the point that with both, they are below where they were before they had either. This apathy couldn't have come at a worse time, because on pay-per-view, they are going to be facing more competition than ever. In addition, their primary market from the start in garnering new customers was dissatisfied WWE customers, but instead of giving them a better product, not only are they giving them a low-rent WWE, but WWE itself looks to be in the process of having a strong 2007. Still, particularly if they get 2 hours in prime time, that is still prime real estate. They are on a good station for a target audience that buys pay-per-views. They just have to give people matches and programs they want to see. The problem is they've made none of their talent special and have made elementary booking mistakes that anyone with half a brain could see that they did them. They've squandered superstars and celebrity angles. They haven't been able to pull the trigger on big money personalities and ideas they've talked about with. Their biggest star talks more about mythical shoot fighting matches than his own programs. And that's a Kurt Angle reference if you missed on that one. So he's quite critical, but I think he's got a lot of fair points here. But don't worry, Bob. we've made it. We've made it to the Against All Odds breakdown. Let's go. This is going to be a fun one. Now, we did not see the pre-show match, as we never do. However, we did mention the match at least. And we saw Johnny Devine and Frankie Kazarian defeat Sanjay Dutt and Jay Lethal in 5 minutes and 14 seconds. Dutt used a middle rope moonsault on both and a Frankensteiner off the top. Lethal did a tope on Devine. Dutt was doing, I think, going for a tope of his own, but in the ring before he could take off, Matt Bentley interfered and super kicked him. Kazarian pinned Dutt using the tights. Now, this was the best pre-show match in a long time, Dave says. After the match, Raven came out and told all three to assume the position. They seemed confused because they actually had won the match, but Raven caned each of them once. So even after winning, they were still caned.
I wonder why.
Yeah. I'm wondering why we don't really see this angle at all on actual TV. Like, it just kind of like exists. Like, serotonin just is there, and once in a while we'll see a picture of Raven from the commercial break beating him up. It's like a really weird situation, I feel like.
So I'm wondering, so it's almost as if it's not a punishment.
Well, this definitely seems like that, right?
But I'm saying in general, because serotonin isn't that like the euphoric feeling?
Yeah.
So when they get beat up, are they feeling serotonin?
I think that's maybe kind of the idea, right?
Right. So then so realistically, they would want to lose. So they would get beat up by Raven. They feel serotonin.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Right.
But
that's what I would gather.
But we don't see it, so I guess how do we know?
Well, we've seen it a couple times.
Yeah, I know, but like, it's just like the one show. Obviously, you didn't have it. It was a couple weeks back, but it was like, Raven, you gotta fight Rhino tonight, and of course it ended up being AJ Styles. But it's like Jim Cornette's being like, Raven, you got to get out there, and it's like we haven't even seen Raven on screen live and like doing anything. I don't know. It's just kind of funny.
I don't even really know how much longer Raven is here. 2007.
Consistently, I don't know. I thought
just wrestling wise.
Well, he definitely leaves at some point pretty soon, I think. I thought the serotonin thing, by the way, was much more featured on TV.
Oh, I didn't think that.
I don't know. I guess my nostalgia of seeing Raven in the cool white outfit is like playing in my head of like, I thought I saw this a lot more than just like pictures of it, but here we are.
Well, who knows? Maybe maybe it does later on.
It could. Time will tell. After that, I think, so this is also in the pre-show. Alex Shelley told Kevin Nash in the bathroom. Now, Dave notes, if you noticed, Kevin Nash is always in the bathroom during the paparazzi production things, that he had gotten a tape of everything that went down with Eric Young and Miss Brooks at the last minute, as a last minute tease that we'll see naked women and enormous boobs have sex on pay-per-view. Bob Backlund came out of the bathroom, so yes, a tease that Bob is in the house, and that Scott Steiner was bullying Tomko, who, by the way, flew back in the middle of his New Japan tour for this. So Tomko was like in the middle of a tour and like came back to do this bullshit. Now, before the pre-show ended, Team 3D was in the ring and they wanted a street fight right now. So that was the tease that they were kicking off right away with the Little Italy street fight. So I do like that. Now we're on the main show. Homicide and Hernandez defeated Team 3D in the non-title Little Italy street fight in 9 minutes and 26 seconds. The difference between this and a normal street fight is that the ring was filled with tables like a cafe. There were garbage cans on the ramp, and the restaurant is next to a strip club. So Conan was on the ramp, still in a wheelchair. And Dave even points out, like, that must totally suck that with him flying in every week while bound to a chair because he doesn't get paid otherwise. Although he still is the lifeblood of LAX. Eventually in the match, Brother Ray, pulled out some dollar bills and called over the strippers for a lap dance in the middle of the grudge match. Homicide cracked him with a chair during that. Homicide used a pizza cutter on Devon as he bled. 4 members of the Latino Nation ran in. And believe it or not, Bob, one of them was in fact Machete, as we called. One was a guy that we do not mention on the show. And then 2 others were 2 local indie guys named JP Ace. And I don't know if we even have the name of the other guy. So we actually have names of them. I thought that was exciting. But we were like, that one looks just like Machete. And it was. And I like that because it's interesting, though, that they weren't like, not that we needed like a big Machete return, but the fact that he's just like part of the Latino Nation. He's not like actually like a person anymore.
He was in
LAX.
Yes, him and Hamza Conan.
That's right.
He's been demoted to just the gang.
Yeah. Now, after a series of near falls, Hernandez pinned Devon with a border toss. All the early brawling and weapon usage probably contributed to the crowd burnout later in the show. I don't know if I agree with that, but whatever.
It could.
I like a hot start, but he shit talk it. But guess what? Dave Meltzer gives this 3.25 stars. And as a reference, I gave that 2.75 stars, and Bob gave it 2.5.
Okay, so he liked it more than we did.
Yeah. And I think I actually liked it a decent amount, but I was being very hesitant because we were early in the show. I was like, I got to be a little bit more restrained with my early voting because we have a lot more to go.
Oh, see, I don't think you necessarily have to do that. And for me, I tend to be probably on the lower end of those type of matches just because it's...
They didn't do anything like spectacular. Like I think I'm happy with what I voted for.
Stuff. I mean, there's no
Mm-hmm.
There's no real wow factor to it.
Yeah, I'm happy with my voting, so I don't regret it. Next up, Sentry pinned Austin Starr in 8 minutes 21 seconds. Before the match, Starr was doing a promo when Backlund came out. Dave says it was a good match. The match ended up with one of those rolling reverse cradle back bridge pins where both guys have their shoulders down. Starr celebrated like he'd won, which of course meant Sentry got his hand raised. Starr started throwing chairs into the ring until Backlund came out. He slapped Backlund, and Backlund put him in the chicken wing crossface and took him to the back. Match was good, but the guy it was designed to get over the nearly 58-year-old Backlund, who admittedly can pass for being much younger, even though he dressed like Grandpa in his 50s. He gives this match 2.75 stars, and me and Bob both gave it 1.5.
Okay, so we're not in sync with Dave so far.
Not this time. And next up, Bob's favorite match on the show, where Christy Hemme defeated the fat, oily guy in 2 minutes, 29 seconds in a tuxedo street fight, is how he lists it. It was just a tuxedo match, but...
A street fight?
Yeah, I don't know. The crowd was chanting, "Fuck you, Russo," during this match, which was a real killer. Fans were booing this and booed her, although in the long run, she's supposed to be the heel in all of this because the idea is that the male audience can't get a girl, certainly not one that looks like her. So therefore, they want to see hot women being degraded, and Kip James represents them.
What?
Yeah. Kip did end up coming out.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah, you heard that right, Bob.
So the story is that legitimately what it's supposed to be going on, or is it Dave just ad-libbing and being?
I think part of it is, I think it's almost a mix because she is supposed to be the heel in it, and how else is she the heel besides how he just described it? Because that, I mean, to me, she's
saying that women don't get a fair chance.
Yeah, and then Kip is
for just their skin,
and then Kip is essentially proving that.
But how is she the heel?
I don't say I agree with it. I'm just saying this is how it's being played.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. But
I don't understand how she's supposed to be the heel. It doesn't make sense.
Kip is the heel.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Now, eventually, Kip came out and teased that he was going to take off his pants, but instead ripped off her shirt and laughed. Now, the idea to get Kip over as a face and Hemme over as a heel. So I don't think that really worked. Now, in Russo's original scripting, he wanted BG James to run in and put a towel over Christy Hemme, but BG refused, saying if the idea was to get VCAM to be faces, him putting a towel over Hemme would turn him heel.
Right.
When he made that point, when he made that point, they ended up switching the script. Me and Bob both gave this a dud. Dave Meltzer gives this -3 stars. That might be our first minus stars since we've been covering TNA.
So we liked it more than Dave did.
I mean, technically, in my opinion, I don't know if we can get lower than a dud. To me, that's just like fuck this. It's like the worst thing. So
I don't think I'd ever go negative like that.
Right. I almost even feel like the dud is like. I almost feel like even a dud is like insulting.
Sure.
But hey, you gotta call him like you see him.
I would take a 0 essentially over like somebody saying, look at that -2.5.
Yeah, right. Now during the show, we saw a series of vignettes where Alex Shelley played the director at a movie premiere, with the audience being Dut Lethal, Letitia, and Kevin Nash, about the whole Eric Young situation with Tracy. Long story short, they showed it over multiple times, but Eric Young brought her fake flowers that he said lasted longer because they wouldn't die, and chocolates and stuff like that. And she wanted him to sign the contract. He didn't want to. But before he left, she stripped down into her lingerie. Eric Young signed, and she told him to close his eyes, and then she ran off with Robert Roode. So that happened. Next up, Lance Hoyt pinned Dale Torborg in 5 minutes 4 seconds. David Eckstein was in Hoyt's corner, along with the front row of Team Eckstein fans, which I'm guessing were his family members. We don't have that confirmed, I don't think, but that's what Dave says. AJ Paninsky was with Torborg. Fans were chanting "Baseball sucks," which, yes, it does. Match wasn't good and was the first of the slew of matches with no heat. Paninsky hit Hoyt with a good chair shot, and he was pinned. Eckstein told referee Andrew Thomas what happened, and they showed him the chair in the ring. Eckstein then hit Torborg with a chair and gave to him by his brother, and Hoyt got the pin with the F5. It's really clear that angles like this should be done on television. It's a lot easier to get the casual fan to sample the product on a television as opposed to spending $30. If this match could draw buys, that's one thing, but everyone knew ahead of time that it couldn't. Dave says, I'm a proponent of the company using guys who can get them publicity, but the tradition of building it for a pay-per-view is only the right idea if it'll add buys. Plus, we've already been through the fact that they downgrade their celebrity angles by using prelim guys with them, which signals that they aren't even important to TNA fans. Dave Meltzer gives this one a 1/4 star, and me and Bob both gave it a 1/2 star.
I mean, he's right.
Yeah. He's not wrong.
He's definitely right. Why would I care about AJ Pearson, Dale Torborg, and Lance Hoyt? Yeah,
that's right. Next up, AJ Styles defeated Rhino in a Motor City chain match in 15 minutes and 7 seconds. Not only did we have the guys chained together, but Bob, we had 2 poles. Yep, that's right. One pole had the key to unlock the chain, and the other pole had a nightstick, which I guess is a street fight weapon of choice in Detroit, is what Dave says. The referee, which I believe was Earl Hebner, even though Dave decided to write that it was Dave Hebner. It's Earl. He nonchalantly kicked the key over to Rhino, which it was, by the way, supposed to, for AJ was supposed to have the key. It's kind of his thing. This was supposed to be a babyface move. Led to chants of "You screwed Brett" and "You screwed Rhino." Rhino got out of his shackles and set up a table for the gore Styles through it, but Rhino missed and crashed through the tables, and Styles pinned him.
They were saying you screwed AJ.
They did do that, didn't they?
Yeah, it wasn't you screwed Rhino.
They didn't say they screwed Rhino.
You Rhino to get him unlocked.
Yeah.
They were saying you screwed AJ.
I don't know. Did Dave watch this match?
I think he's just a classic typo. Just didn't in his brain do it right.
Yeah, that's a good catch, because as I read this at 1 a.m. last night, that did not compute in my head. But he gives this match a 1.5 stars. And me and Bob, I gave it 2.25 stars. And Bob gave it 2 stars.
What did Dave give it?
A 1.5 stars. I don't know. I thought it was a lot better than their last match. So next up, Chris Sabin pinned Jerry Lynn to keep the exhibition.
The last one was AJ just like quitting.
The last one sucked. The match itself sucked, and then AJ just quit. So yeah. Next up, Chris Sabin pinned Jerry Lynn to keep the X Division title in 13 minutes 33 seconds. The match almost had no heat. It was a good storytelling match where Sabin worked on Lynn's back for most of the match and even played into the finish. From an old school technical standpoint, they did everything right, and it didn't work. Although, I think it was more due to a lot of what preceded it. Now, Lynn went for the cradle pile driver, but his back gave out from all the punishment in the match. Sabin then got the pin, grabbing the ropes. Dave gives us 3 stars, and me and Bob also both gave it 3 stars.
Okay, but then you said it didn't work.
I think it was just for the fans. Like they had no heat with the fans.
3 stars is fine.
Yeah. And now, after all the segments of the Shelley playing the film, Robert Roode and Ms. Brooks came out to celebrate Young being signed. Eventually, Young came out. Roode noted that he'd signed the contract and dared Young to punch him, but if he did, he'd be fired. Roode insulted the fans and Eric Young, so it was like an Impact segment on the middle of the pay-per-view. Next up, we had James Storm and Jackie Moore beat Petey Williams and Gail Kim in 8 minutes, 49 seconds. Again, the crowd was dead. The women's stuff was okay, Dave says, far better than the women's stuff in WWE. It was professional, but nothing outstanding other than Kim doing some flashy moves. Jackie Moore eventually jumps on Petey Williams' back, and Storm nailed Williams with a super kick. Moore DDT'd referee Rudy Charles, and they set up doing a double-team death sentence on Kim when Chris Harris returned wearing an eye patch, and he made the save. He gives this a 1 3/4 stars, and I gave it a 1.5 stars, and Bob gave it a star. I also realized I didn't even say the finish of that match. It was, let's see, I have it right here. Kim did a rolling versus cradle on Moore, but she kicked her off into Storm. Kim collided with Storm, and Moore pinned her. That's the finish. I realized I totally skipped over that. Okay, next. What?
It wasn't noteworthy, so that's why you skipped it.
Right, that's right. Next up, it was the Prison Yard match, the second to last match on the show. Sting defeated Abyss in 11 minutes, 57 seconds. The match started in the back of the building, where fans turned away watching on screens to see, got to see it live, while the fans in the arena had to watch it on screens. So we were right that was the overflow crowd. They got to see it out in the back, which is kind of cool. Also, we should point out that they made their entrances in the impact zone and then walked to the back. It kind of felt very awkward to me, but Abyss threw Sting into a heavily gimmicked dumpster, and unfortunately, the camera shot was too good that you could see it. I don't know if it was even meant to not show it though to me, but
I don't know, man. The entire top of it was this cardboard.
I know. I think it was. I don't think they were trying to hide that it was gimmicked. Is what I mean. Mm-hmm. If they shot it from below, and he chokeslammed in it, and it was like, oh my god, he's in the dumpster, and then they showed it. Like I'll give the example. I don't know when it is or was, but like Jeff Hardy jumps off of a fucking.
I know you're talking.
The truck, and then all of a sudden they don't show it, and then in the next shot you see him on the ground, but you see the fucking mat in the background, like. That's worse to me because they tried to make it seem like he hit the floor. To me, this wasn't as hidden. Like, I don't know. It didn't really bother me that much.
No, I don't think it didn't really bother me either, but you knew that it was...
Yeah, right.
Because the thing, too, was it didn't even, like, cave in. So
right.
And there's something else, like, underneath.
Yeah. Now, Sting ended up doing a splash off the dumpster onto Abyss through a table. I did like that spot. I think it was shot really well, and I think it was pretty good. Now, eventually, the match ended with a barbed wire board elevated, and Abyss climbed the cell that they had. They had the board on a table. Now, Sting got underneath him, powerbombed him onto the barbed wire board, and put him in the cell to lock the door. Now, the story here is that this apparently is Mitchell's temporary blow-off. The idea is to bring him back in a few months with a new protege who would then feud with Sting. He says, good match, much better than the much better match than they've been having in general. He gives us 3.25 stars. Myself and Bob both gave it 2.5.
I think that's reasonable. 3.25? Like, I don't know.
Pretty high. And finally, the main event. Christian Cage pinned Kurt Angle in 19 minutes and 2 seconds to retain the NWA title. Angle guaranteed before the match that he would win the title. You know Cornette has zero power because the Cornette booking rule of thumb is that if the face either guarantees or promises or swears to God on something on television, he has to deliver. Tomko came out with Christian, but Steiner didn't. They spent the whole show teasing that Tomko and Steiner didn't get along. Joe came out a couple minutes into the match to be the ringside enforcer. The finish saw Christian get the pipe and hit Angle, and then use the unprettier for the fall. After the match, Steiner put Angle in the Steiner recliner and used the pipe to choke him. Good match, but every TNA NWA title match has the same ref bump spots. And then he says, and they are in most WWE title matches as well, because they are easy pops. But in this bout, they felt old. They have the crowd at the end, which was no small feat given that nobody else could get them. But this didn't have what I'd call usual main event heat. But he does give this match 3.5 stars. And I also gave it 3.5 stars, and Bob gave it 3 stars. So not too bad. We were off on a bunch of them as far as being aligned with them, but we were also pretty on par with a lot of that too. So,
well, and personally, I like it when it's not the same. I like differing opinions.
Yeah. Well, what makes it kind of fun though is we don't obviously look at them before, so it's not like we already have a pre bias of it. You know what I mean? I think that's my favorite part. I got just a couple quick things here for you before we get into the show. I want to talk very briefly about the This Is TNA special that aired on the 12th. So, Raw was preempted because of the dog show, so TNA said, hey, we're going to do a 2-hour special. We're really going to do something cool here. We're going to try to get some ratings and just really show people who are used to watching wrestling what TNA is all about. So that aired on Monday. And so apparently, he says, This Is TNA special on Spike in the place of the 212 Raw did a 1.18 rating and 1.5 million viewers. It was TNA's second highest rating in its history. Still, I don't know if I'd call that a success because it was in a time slot that people are planning on watching wrestling. It wasn't well advertised, so they didn't get too many WWE fans to sample. Within the company, the report we got is that they were expecting a lot better when the idea came to the Monday slot. But even before the airing, with the lack of advertising, I know people who also expected worse. There was an excuse that people on the TV called it This Is TNA as opposed to This Is TNA Wrestling, and thus people didn't realize it was a wrestling show. And no point in doing this show in a time slot unless it was going to be heavily pushed to a WWE audience. He notes that the show did a 1.09 in males 18 to 34 and a 1.01 in males 35 to 49, which are lower figures than they've done in those demos on most Thursday nights.
So by the sounds of it, they're still handcuffed with the notion that it could be porn.
I guess potentially, yeah. He also notes that there was on the 10th. There's the TNA replay. It did at 0.6, but that's a very brief thing. Now, on the This Is TNA special, they, of course, only showed, highlights. They, matches, big matches. They didn't do anything special. We talked about, I think, on our last Impact episode, they made a couple announcements. They announced Elevation X. They did, a top 5 moments in TNA, and, Christian thought that he was going to be in top 3 of them or something like that.
It didn't show full matches?
No, they showed the full matches, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was going to list the matches real quick for you, just so we have a reference of what they actually showed. Actually, let me hit the results just in case. So they showed the King of the Mountain match, where Jeff Jarrett ended up beating Abyss, Christian Cage, Ron Killings, and Sting to win the title. They showed the LAX defeating Styles and Daniels to win the titles in the 6 Sides of Steel. They showed Sting defeating Jeff Jarrett from Bound for Glory, where Kurt Angle was the special enforcer. They showed Christian Cage and Rhino's 8 Mile Street Fight. And they showed, I believe, the first Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe match, where Kurt Angle wins. So, not honestly a bad collection of matches. If they advertised this better and you were a first-time viewer and never heard of TNA before, I think they did give you some decent stuff to watch there.
So they basically gave you the 3 top matches from Bound for Glory.
Yeah, guess they did, huh?
Kurt Joe, the first one.
Well, Kurt Joe is from Genesis.
Right.
Yeah.
That would
No. Sounds pretty good to me. If I was a new fan and like just checking that out, I'm sure it was a decent show, but they didn't advertise it very well. So what do you expect? One thing I forgot to mention to you at the pay-per-view, I forgot it was down lower here. Apparently Orlando Jordan was backstage, and his name has come up several times in the past, but at this time, he was not considered seriously. So that's not going to be the fact forever. He will be here eventually.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they 7. I mean, how? I'm actually surprised that he is fired from WWE already.
That's a good point.
That's really surprising. I know, like, why though. Made them uncomfortable.
Oh no, things happen, I guess. 2 more quick things, and then we will finally get into this episode. Jim Cornette is getting more involved in producing segments and speaking at the production meetings. It's said to be hilarious how he continually brings up points in the scripts that make no sense, but no matter what he says, Jeff Jarrett and Dutch Mantell appear to totally respect his opinion and do change. The only problem is much of this stuff needs a complete overhaul as opposed to minor tweaking. And then finally, to kind of follow up with Jeff Jarrett stuff, at a team meeting, Jarrett said he reiterated to everyone that nobody is allowed to do media, and particularly any internet interviews, unless it's approved by the office first. We'll see if they crack down on the guys who do these weekly crazy radio spots. Now, Jarrett also said no girlfriends, wives, or family are allowed to be back in the wrestlers' area backstage.
Wow.
And actually, I didn't realize that probably went with this, but apparently it might be semi-related to the fact that Raven brought his new wife to these shows over the weekend, which surprised almost everyone, since nobody even knew he had a serious girlfriend or that he was married.
Wow. Well, okay. I see. Now here's the thing: does that apply to everyone? So you're telling me that Kurt can't bring Karen?
Well, I think Jeff's going to be okay if Karen comes.
So too. Maybe that rule will be changing.
I think that rule's going to change.
I could see why, though. I mean, like, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
The wrestlers, you don't
Right.
put it with your... Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, that's funny. I do have a bunch that we'll talk about during the show. A lot of quick hits and stuff like that, including a Kurt Angle radio interview. It's pretty brief, but we'll talk about that all during our episode here, as we're finally going to be able to get into Impact. As we know, these post pay-per-view shows, they're always long, they're full of information, and I still got more for you. I can't wait to just talk during this whole episode.
Talking for over an hour before we actually get to the fucking show.
It's been 58 minutes. I just looked. Thank you. Bob, I can't hear. Oh, there you go. I lost you for a second.
What are you talking about?
You're good. You're here.
I didn't even do anything.
I know. I didn't hear you for a
You
second.
lost me.
Your voice. I couldn't hear your voice.
Oh, well, maybe you should open your ears. Right? Can you hear me better now or no?
Oh, I can hear you great. Just in time.
Okay.
For the February 15th, 2007 episode of Impact.
It's 42 minutes and 25 seconds long is the approximate runtime. If you want to watch along with us, head over to the TNA Plus app. Find it in your own personal collection. Count down from 3. And when I say play, that is when we're going to start the show. 3, 2.
I didn't hear you say play, so if anyone else didn't, then we hit play. I
said play.
I saw his lips say play, but I didn't hear him say play.
Okay, well, I'm at 11 seconds, 12 seconds, 13 seconds, 14.
15. We're about lined up. I think I'm 1 second ahead of you, maybe, so we're good.
You're 1 second ahead of me?
20, 21, 22, 23.
Oh, we're good.
Okay. Okay. We are seeing, of course, highlight packages here from Against All Odds, but let me give you the quick explosion taping results that happened during this new taping.
I can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
See, but now my volume sounds like it looks like it's coming in lower than what it was coming in, according to this stupid thing.
Well, Bob's just going to unplug his mic and plug it back in here. That sounds worse. We're live, pal. Oh, Scott Steiner's kicking off Impact. Let's turn off with this. The Sirens, Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, Genetic Freak. He's wearing weird pants.
Can't even hear me. How about now? How about nothing?
I can sort of hear you.
Anything up from my microphone?
You just sound a little quiet. That's all. Look at.
It's like not even picking anything up. I don't understand.
Scott Steiner looks
How
like.
about now? Oh, here we go.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
We're back.
We're back, guys.
And we're back.
And we're back.
What the fuck? How did that happen? I didn't even touch that. Oh, okay. Well,
Bob's too relaxed. He's sitting on his couch now, guys. He used to sit in a chair and like be normal, but
no, I got comfort. I got my own place again. I am living the bachelor life. And,
I don't blame him. I'm liking it.
Yeah, you experienced the couch, and you said it was very uncomfortable.
So where I was sitting, it needs to be satin more. I was very straight back, and I like to lounge more.
So it's funny. It's funny you say that because where I'm sitting right now is where I primarily sit. So it's definitely broken in. I had sat where you sat the other day, and I go, this needs to get broken in.
Yeah. I wanted to sit where your friend in the corner was sitting.
Awesome, yeah.
But his jacket was already there when I got there, and I was like, damn it, I was going to take that spot. Yeah. Okay, Scott Steiner's got a live mic. I will tell you guys the explosion matches after we hear what Steiner has to say, because that's always fun. TNA decided to sign a big superstar. They signed you, Kurt Angle. Where'd that leave me? Oh, he had not even a penny left.
He's pissed about Kurt being signed.
How do you feel about the pants he's got on? I don't like those.
Oof.
Oh, who'd you beat? John Cena? I beat him. Batista? I beat him. I don't care how many times Triple H slept with the boss's daughter. I still beat him.
You see, none of that's right. He never beat John Cena.
Are we sure?
Yeah, he never fought him.
For
Cena was
sure.
on SmackDown.
He said it, though.
It never happened. And then he also never technically beat Triple H either. Never
I'm going on his cage match. I don't believe you.
Good.
Kurt Angle, tell your bitch to stop calling. Well, from what we know, she likes to call wrestlers, so it adds up that she is in fact calling Scott Steiner.
Wow.
I mean, Jeff Jarrett. Hello.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man.
Listen, I like Kurt. I'm just saying.
That's fucked up.
Dude, there's a kid tried to touch Kurt Angle so bad, and Kurt did not care.
Yeah, he doesn't care. This isn't the Royal Rumble 2025 where he's going to touch every single fan coming down the ramp.
That's right. Okay, Scott Steiner did beat John Cena in December 14th, 2002 at a house show.
Doesn't count.
He did beat him.
It wasn't on TV.
Doesn't matter. Count. He beat him.
Doesn't count.
Sorry, but he did.
It doesn't count.
Kurt Angle's out here now talking with Scott Steiner. He did defeat Batista at a house show.
Doesn't count. Not on TV.
It literally counts, bro.
No. Doesn't count.
I don't know. Well, it looks like he could have pinned Batista or Triple H in this one tag team match on Raw.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that one yet. 2003. Doesn't count.
Yes, 2003. I'm sorry, but it does.
No, it does not count.
He did not lie.
I think he did.
If there is no evidence of it, then yeah, it doesn't count, but he does.
Exactly. There's no evidence that he actually won at the house show.
It's literally it's on the internet.
Doesn't matter. I could, you know what? I'll just type something in on the internet, and then you'll automatically have to say it's real.
You gonna talk, Steiner, or you want to do something about it?
There's a catchphrase there: less talking, more wrestling.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
We're laying
his head just went flying off.
Yeah, his head. German. Oh, Steiner's hurt. He's hurt. Oh, the ankle locked in on Steiner. Here comes Christian Cage.
This is bizarre.
Oh, belly to belly to this champion. Locks the champion in the ankle lock. Here comes Tomko.
Tomko.
This is a hot start to Impact. Now, guys, remember, this is going head to head with the second hour of Raw right now.
All right. So this makes sense. So Steiner's pissed because Kurt essentially took his money when he signed in August. I think he was saying August. So here comes Samoa Joe, who made a weird face when he came in.
And who's that?
Oh, the locker room just emptied.
It's the babyface locker room. VKM, Rhino, Jay Lethal. Whoa, Shark Boy's here?
Is that Norman Smiley?
Yeah, dude. What?
Okay.
Well,
actually, I don't know how I feel about Kurt basically kicking Steiner's ass.
Oh, Kurt Angle's got a microphone. Joe? Listen, man. You and I, we've been through hell and back. I promise you a title shot. You're going to get that shot, Joe. Oh. Gauntlet match tonight. May the best man win, he says.
What?
Do we have a potential gauntlet for the gold tonight, Bob?
It sure sounds like it. But he just said you're going to get your title match, but you got to go through me. Which would then make it sound like as if he wouldn't get the title match because Kurt's going to beat him.
Yeah, what? Oh. Okay, Impact intro. Let me give you this Explosion shot out of the way. Yeah. Explosion number 175 airs on February 19th, 2007. Chris Sabin defended the X Division title by defeating Shark Boy. And then Explosion 176 that aired on February 26, 2007. Jay Lethal, Petey Williams, and Sonjay Dutt defeated Serotonin. And Bob, we may find it out on one of these episodes, but they got new names. Havoc, Kaz, and Martyr.
Okay. Well, I think Divine is Havoc. Right? And I think Martyr.
Yes. They're showing us the Elevation X coming down from the top of the arena now on Impact.
Why are we doing this?
What?
Why? Why would you spoil that?
Whoa.
They should have treated that like the Elimination Chamber. You won't see what it looks like until the show.
It looks insane.
Yeah.
14-man gauntlet for the gold tonight. They showed Styles, Rhino. We know Kurt Angle's in it. Jimmy Boresh backstage with LAX now.
I also want to point out, if you guys want to watch Explosion, Brian Turner actually found, I think he said 12 more episodes from like the Asylum years.
Conan is saying, what are you guys mad at us because we beat you in your own Little Italy street fight?
Conan is looking very thin.
I know. Spike TV tried to censor the beatdown, but why didn't you try to censor the beatdown when Team 3D attacked them?
It's true.
Can't argue that. You try to silence us, the silence will come at a price. The Latino nation will grow, get more violent. Oh, another thing I meant to mention. Remember how Steiner was busted open in the pay-per-view?
Yeah.
That was because Samoa Joe throwing a chair shot at him. It nicked him in the back of the head.
Oh. Steiner just kissed Letitia on the head, by the way.
What? I just looked down and I missed it?
Yeah. And then she didn't say no in like a grossed out way. She was like, no, not right now.
Interesting. It's 14 against 1. Christian Cage is seeming very upset about this gauntlet for the gold situation.
Okay, interesting here. So Christian is saying, originally said it's like 14 against 1, but now he's saying it's more like 12 against 1 because Tomko and Steiner, I'm assuming, are in the final for the gold, and it's good to have friends. No. family. But when he mentioned family and stuff like that, Steiner noticeably took a step backwards. Which I think is potentially teasing that Steiner would go for the championship.
Oh, I suppose you shut the hell up. Steiner seems to not care that he will go for the title shot if he wants it.
Yeah, that's why he probably stepped backward.
Group hug, group hug. Christian wants a group hug. Steiner says, nah, fuck you. And he walks away. Wow. You know I'm not really an emotional guy, he says to Tomko. Something I've been meaning to tell you. Tomko. You've always been like a son to me. Oh. Tomko takes his hand off. You know what? I got a match. Now, Tomko is kind of been unhappy. He's kind of been upset with him because he kind of made him babysit Steiner, and they weren't getting along. So I could understand Tomko being a little frustrated with Christian.
Yeah, I feel like this alliance isn't really going to maybe last long because Christian seems to be pissing everybody off.
Look at that, Bob. Machete is back.
He's the personal.
He's the one pushing.
Pusher?
He's pushing out Conan. Got bandana on his face, but that's Machete.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
LAX is now making their way down to the ring. I like that Hernandez got like a random like knuckle of the NWA tag team title like plate made.
It looks like it's like the size of a belt buckle.
Yeah, it's like a belt buckle of the title.
Yeah.
Kinda. Apparently we're starting a match already. It's LAX versus Shark Boy and Norman Smiley.
Norman Smiley.
Norman. Quick reversal. Oh my God. Shark Boy and Norman just took down LAX with drop kicks. Oh yeah, we're dancing.
Yeah, they're not gonna. Oh, there's a cutter to Shark Boy by Homicide.
Oh. Hernandez just tossed Norman Smiley overhead through it by his neck.
And Hernandez with a scoop. Oh, and a set out powerbomb. Homicide. Sent down off the top. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll do it.
Okay.
All right. Well, what are the odds that Team 3D will run out here?
I hope they do, because I have a note. I'll just tell you anyway. Now, apparently, Brother Ray asked Jeff Jarrett if he could turn heel, but he was turned down. Is they've got LAX versus Team 3D apparently booked up through having a cage match at Lockdown. Is the rumor right now. Hey,
I'm not surprised that he would want to turn heel.
Well, because they've realized that LAX is so over, too.
Sure.
Oh, they made a phone call of their own. Their big cousin Steve.
He's from The Sopranos.
He is from, yeah. The only reason I know that is from reading the notes. Listen, have you watched The Sopranos, Bob?
Yes, I have.
I watched season 1, and I thought it was kind of boring.
So
I'm working on it, though. I want to finish it.
Yeah, you gotta keep going.
And we're going to show you who the real tough guys are. I think what our cousin was trying to say. Next week on Impact, New York City style. A belting pot match?
Melting.
Oh.
It's a fucking lumberjack match.
No, I'm pretty sure he said belting.
I thought he said melting pot.
I think that's the joke. It's like a belting pot. Like, because he said, you bring your guys, we'll bring our guys to surround the ring.
I don't like his humor.
Mess with the family, you're going to get whacked. Conan goes, you can bring the whole cast from The Sopranos.
Machete had his bandana down. I think he had to pull it back up. He's like, oh, shit. Wait, he's yanking it down again.
I honestly don't mind if Machete comes back and joins these guys.
As long he should be the job guy.
Yes. That's why they need him.
And that's fine.
Fuck
Okay,
it.
so we're doing another match. It's a belting pot.
I think.
It sounds like they're saying melting.
I'm looking up on the card next week. I gotta know right now. They just called it a lumberjack match.
Okay, well that's what we should just do too. It's a lumberjack.
It
and
is,
I'm assuming
they
with
happen to have
straps.
belts. Yeah.
Yeah, we're belts. Yeah.
Okay, we're getting a throwback to Ms. Brooks signing the Eric Young to the deal here.
There was one indie note regarding LAX out of that whole thing, by the way. On February 13th, LAX wrestled the Country of Caucasian Knights, which is Scott McKenzie and the Messiah, who are the RCW Tag Team Champions. They wrestled to a no contest at RCW's Texas Explosion 2 in San Antonio, Texas. That happened in a Baptist church gym.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Eric Young and Tracy backstage with Jeremy Borash. I actually have a note about this situation here. Apparently, among the wrestlers, the more I'm hearing, this is Dave, is that there are negatives about all the comedy on the show and don't think it's the right direction. The response that he says he's getting is them actually identical to the fan response. Lots of complaints regarding the amount of airtime for Eric Young, who most realize is funny, but they push it too hard, particularly on the pay-per-view, as well as Christy Hemme.
I can see that.
And I might as well just tell you now, too. Apparently Christy Hemme did a conference call for TNA that went a whopping 20 minutes, and usually these go over an hour. And Alvarez says that even in 20 minutes, she really had nothing to say.
That was with Christy?
Yes.
Yikes.
Robert Roode just said, Eric Young, give me that shirt, because he has the Don't Fire Eric shirt, and he threw it to the back. Don't look at me like that. Go. I love that green gear that Robert Roode has, by the way. What are you doing that to him for? JB's trying to stick up for Eric Young. JB, you should mind your own business, or I could buy and sell you 2 times over. Don't ever talk to Robert Roode.
I think he said don't touch him.
Oh, don't touch him. Oh, Bob Backlund's here again. I don't understand. Little St. Louis promo here, Bob, for Lockdown, and I actually have news about this as well. Now, it's not officially announced, but there are plans for a April 13th house show in Grand Rapids on the Thursday before Lockdown, which Dave says makes no sense to me. Now, a April 20th show in Louisville and a June 3rd show in Puerto Rico, working with one of the groups there. So a couple announcements on that. And they also are apparently, hold on, trying to get licensed in the state of Kentucky to possibly run shows in the Louisville Gardens.
No.
So.
Do you think that the house show before the pay-per-view is like watering down the market? You probably don't want to do that.
Yeah, probably.
Oversaturation.
We're
seeing a video
seeing
package here of Jacqueline Moore hitting the death sentence on Gail Kim, brawling in the restroom where there's a camera.
Which is illegal, but that's okay.
I'm not gonna
listen to this. You know how they switched calling her Miss Tennessee to Jackie Moore again?
Yes.
Well, that's because one of the beauty pageants contacted TNA with a legal letter saying they own the rights to the Miss Tennessee name, and that's why she's Jacqueline Moore, or is now being Jackie Moore, the pride of Tennessee.
I knew it. I had a feeling that it was going to be something about like a competition or something.
Isn't that wild?
That's amazing.
Here comes Gail Kim.
Gail Kim looking hot, as always.
Are we doing an arm wrestling contest?
What?
I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Gail Kim against Jackie Moore in an arm wrestling contest? Okay.
I don't know why this matters.
Well, Bob, that's because it doesn't.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cowboy James Storm bringing out Jackie Moore. You see? You hear that? The pride of Tennessee, Jackie Moore.
Yep, I heard it.
Damn, that sucks because I really liked the Miss Tennessee name. I thought that was fun and a fun little callback.
Now I wonder, because like when she was Miss Texas in the USWA, I mean that was regional TV,
Right?
so that this being on national television is probably different from a lawsuit perspective. Also,
that is also kind of funny though.
They probably weren't smart enough in '92 to trademark like Miss Texas.
I do think it's kind of funny that it's like a beauty pageant, and they're like, nope, she can't be that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, I really like Gail Kim, but Jackie Moore is kind of jacked.
Oh yeah, no, she is. Realistically, Jackie Moore should probably win this.
This is such a random spot in the show. It's also funny because they're both like not very tall women, so they're using a table that normally like Scott Steiner is going to be using. Oh my God, Gail Kim just beat her. Okay, James Storm got in the ring. He's very upset. Push the table over.
I'm actually really surprised Gail won that.
Also, why was it so clean? She didn't like even cheat to do it.
No cheating.
Nothing. It was just happened. Oh, James Storm has restrained Gail Kim. Jackie laying some punches. The midsection now attacking her head. I'm assuming
Chris
we're going to
Harrison.
see.
Oh, Pete.
Okay. I would have rather Chris Harris, but that's fine.
I'm surprised Chris Harris didn't. I mean, he returned it against all odds.
Well, this is shades of the mixed tag team match that we just saw. Oh, Petey, he's grabbed Jackie Moore.
Oh, Destroyer?
Nope. Boom. James Storm got him from behind.
Damn it. Oh,
Here
he is.
Harris came from... Oh, no eye patch on. Oh, yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does.
I
He
thought
came
he
through
did.
the crowd, not backstage.
Yes. We find the defendants guilty. Letitia standing by with X Division champion Chris
Chris said
Sabin.
Letitia. I don't
Yeah, I
think he
know.
knows her name.
Letitia. Oh, there's a match next week to determine his opponent for Destination X. He's talking like a baby, kind of. Oh, because his teeth aren't in.
His teeth are in the cup of water that he's drinking out of.
Oh. Bob Backlund says he was at the senior citizen breakfast last week in Connecticut, and Sabin has made a lot of them feel pretty bad. Ladder match next week. Oh. Bob Backlund's going to handpick someone that's going to be in the match that could become the number one contender. Oh, God, he just spit the teeth water all over Letitia.
Is it going to be Bob Backlund to fight Chris Sabin?
Ugh. The paparazzi idol, little American Idol thing here happening. Kevin Nash, SoCal Val, and Tiny. They're the judges.
Okay, so Tiny's acting like Randy Jackson. SoCal Val is acting like Paula Abdul, she's acting drunk.
She's acting drunk.
Yeah, and then Kevin Nash is Simon Cowell.
What? Oh my God. The first appearance of the Macho Man impression by Jay Lethal right here. What? Dude, that's wild.
Wow.
In hindsight, that is like so cool to see for the first time.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is pretty nuts.
Huh.
Are we doing the gauntlet right now or what? Oh, here's more Ron. Oh, we actually see Ron.
Ron the Truth Caring, starring in Rocky 7.
There's a
Look at the
plus-size
microphone.
woman. Yeah, the boom mic keeps entering the picture on purpose, obviously.
What? Wow.
I don't know what the point of that is.
Yeah, me either.
Another video package here of Sting and the prison yard. Whole deal.
We're seeing some Sting Jim Mitchell stuff here again, which
Your father. Why did you shoot your dad in the back 3 times? We've yet to get an answer for that.
No, we'll never know.
I'm assuming it's going to be because his father said stop playing Nintendo, and Abyss was pissed.
I don't blame him there.
Shot him in the back. I can honestly say, in the times of growing up, if my dad was ever like, turn off the Sega or the PlayStation, I don't think it ever crossed my mind to shoot him in the back 3 times.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it did cross your mind.
No, it certainly
Man,
didn't.
I really wish I could have.
Man, I want to get a steak knife and just, jab him in the kidneys or something. But no, that never crossed my mind.
I was confused why Sting is coming out, but he's in the Gauntlet for the Gold right now.
Well, that makes sense.
Makes sense, but I thought after that vignette he was going to come out and do a promo.
I'm surprised he's entering first.
Yeah. By the way, if you're following along with us, we are 27 minutes and 17 seconds into the show. Sting is interesting. Pain time. Look at this. It's like almost more simple on one side with just one line down.
I think he ran out of paint.
Could have been. No juggalos in the crowd tonight.
Okay, so Gauntlet for the Gold, in case you've forgotten, is basically a battle royal and a final 2 then have a singles match. Wow, we're going AJ too. Is his music different?
Yep. It's very different. Okay, there's the normal. So it's almost like a remix.
Yeah, it sounded like a remix in the start. I'm the superstar.
It has nothing to do with AJ Styles, but sort of related. We've been seeing the Christopher Daniels vignettes recently, where he's like on his knees with the hood and stuff. So he's going to be reintroduced apparently with a new gimmick. So he won't be doing any wrestling until they unveil that, whatever that is. Bell has rung. Sting and Styles starting us off here. Also, this is relating to the Kevin Nash segment we just saw, or at least somewhat. In the vignettes with the X Division guys, even though they are portrayed to help them get them over as personalities, nobody is allowed to give any good lines, as all have to be saved for Kevin Nash, because the writers think that Nash is hilarious. They are deluding themselves with the idea that these guys in the skits will be over and pushed once they are finished their character makeovers, as they may at first, but you know how that goes.
I think he's wrong with that assessment. I think that at least a couple of them go on to have.
I think a couple, especially after watching this week's.
Yeah.
I think we are going to see some very interesting developments with the X Division stars. Okay, the countdown's already happening for our next competitor to come out here. It's Rhino, the War Machine.
Gore.
I have one more note, Bob, and since he's in the match, I'm just going to say this now, and then I actually kind of want to talk about the Raw that we're kind of going against here a little bit, if we want to chat about that. And by that, I mean, mostly you seem to have a good idea about what's happening. So, Kurt Angle was on
X out of it.
Well, that's okay. We'll find it. We went to commercial. Oh, look it. We come back to a Fallen Angel thing. If I was just patient and waited, we'd see one of the segments again.
It's almost as if we don't watch the shows before we do anything.
Yeah, if you guys think that we do, here's your case that we in fact do not. In fact, sometimes I like to pretend that I'm going to look up to see like, oh, do they talk about this during the show or do I need to mention it before? And then I'm like, meh, it's easy enough. We'll just say it during the show. And then I wait. Okay, well, we're back and there's more people in the ring here. Hold on. Chris Sabin, Jabe Storm, Kip James. Kurt Angle was on. Oh, Abyss is coming out. Kurt Angle's on Scott Farrell show on Sirius on February 9th, doing the same stories. He claimed he's negotiating a big fight with the EXC, but now that the UFC has heard he's talking, they want him as well. saying Spike is trying to get him to sign with UFC. He said he wants to do 3 fights within the next 2 years. He wants to fight Liddell, Ortiz, etc. And he said he can beat them because he's quicker than they are.
You want to know how many fights he does?
0.
Abyss just chokeslammed AJ Styles out of his boots. And he tries to go right after Sting, but he's met with a boot.
So Abyss still's got that new red mask on, in case you were wondering.
Yeah,
Sabin
has his teeth in, so
that's good. He went for a tornado DDT on Abyss, and it was countered, and then he's up on the top, and boom, Sabin has been eliminated. But yeah, that was my last note of the show, Bob. Oh, no, it's not. I lied to you. I have one more. Sorry. Kip James is in the ring. This is perfect. And here comes Kurt Angle. The current plan is to bring in Doug and Danny Basham as the new heel team managed by Christy Hemme to feud with VKM.
Oh, so not the Heartbreakers.
It's been switched.
Wow. You know what? I don't know. I tend to like Doug and Danny. Doug Basham and Damage.
Yes, I was going to say they actually list that name instead of just Danny, but
yeah, I mean that's just basing off their OVW stuff. Their SmackDown run was like, whatever, but they had some good stuff.
I mean, I'll be honest.
The Cornette connection makes sense too.
Right. And James Storm eliminated by Kurt Angle. I am not fans of the Bashams, but that might only be because as a child I really fucking hated them. Like on SmackDown, I think it was so boring, but maybe there's some good stuff out there I'm not aware about.
You probably knew them when they had like Shaniqua.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You should watch Doug Basham now on OVW.
No, that's okay. Here comes Tomko.
It's pretty cringy, I must say.
I thought you were about to say good, and I was like, there's no way.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to make you watch something like that. Say it's good. I don't know if OVW would be considered good in any capacity now. But...
Oh, AJ trying to pull Rhino out here. Oh, Styles is trying so hard to get Rhino over the top here. And Tomko pushes them both out.
Wow. I like this all white from Tomko look.
I like the white look on Tomko. The headgear looks nice.
I feel like it's usually like, black and red or something?
I think so. Jim Cornette, by the way, is on commentary. Someone else is about to be coming out. It's Samoa Joe.
I should probably note Chris Sabin, indie note here.
Oh yeah, and then let's chat about Raw after you do that.
Yeah, February 10th, Sabin wrestled Colt Cabana to a 30-minute time limit draw for the IWF Heavyweight Championship at IWF's Ground Zero in Dearborn, Michigan. And then there's one final one here from Abyss. On February 9th, Abyss defeated Brother Runt in a hardcore match for Top Rope Promotions in Fall River, Massachusetts. Now, on Raw...
Kip just got eliminated quick, by the way.
Kip got eliminated.
We're in a commercial. And we're back, and Eric Young, BG Jameses are in the ring now as well. Who's that? Robert Roode is also.
This episode of Raw, as we mentioned, and here comes Scott Steiner, was heavily promoted because it's Donald Trump invading Raw in Portland, Oregon. That's obviously part of the first hour, and it's safe to say that segment was like 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes long. So a rough estimate as to when the second hour would start, because we didn't look it up, because that's what we do here. We don't look things up.
No, I to be fair, I did try.
We tried, yeah, but I'm just guessing off of a review here of roughly when the second hour would have started. And it looks like I'm going to be guessing that it would have started around... It's either going to be where Chris Masters and Jeff Hardy have a singles match, where if Masters wins, he gets a shot at the Intercontinental title, or Jerry Lawler having a interview with Roddy Piper, where Piper kicked Cancer's ass.
Oh.
I'm going to assume, I'm leaning more towards the Piper promo now, that would have been the start of the second hour.
That makes sense. Now, I have Cage Match pulled up as well, and it looks like there was 2 other matches even before that one. There was Mickey James and Super Crazy against Johnny Nitro and Molina.
Yeah.
And then Eugene versus Great Khali before the Masters and Jeff Hardy match.
Right. And the promo with Piper's after the Hardy Masters match. So I mean, it's probably I'm gonna lean towards. I mean, it could have even happened during the Masters Hardy match, I guess. Technically,
Could have been
the start of the second hour. But that's probably roughly the time. There's a match here between Carlito and Ric Flair, in which Flair won. And then the main event.
Whoa! Kurt Angle was just eliminated.
Well, that's not a surprise. He's not going to be.
Him and Steiner facing off. Okay, sorry.
So Joe's going to probably win this. An 8-man tag main event. And if this isn't an indicator that, like, hey, we know we're going up against Impact, as Robert Roode just clothesline Sting, it's Batista, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and John Cena.
Holy shit.
defeating Mr. Kennedy, MVP, Randy Orton, and Edge.
That is insane.
That is a clear, like, hey, we're putting all of our guys. If they're on SmackDown, who cares? They're on Raw tonight.
That's insane. It's also very important to note that this is the last Raw. It's like a go-home show for No Way Out.
There you go.
2007. So, yeah, pretty interesting. We will definitely be talking about the rating situation next week.
Sting just eliminated Roode, and then Steiner eliminated Sting. We're behind. We're down to Eric Young, Scott Steiner, Tomko, and Samoa Joe. So Robert Roode is
the idea that
Robert Roode is ordering Eric Young to get out, and Tomko threw him out. So Young's
brutal. The idea that there's a very high chance, I'll say, that Samoa Joe's just going to win and just keep his title shot just makes this match so pointless.
Well, I mean, yeah, you have Christian's buddies here, Tomko and Steiner, and then Samoa Joe. This screams that Samoa Joe is going to prevail over the two heels.
And I'm going to reiterate, I hate those pants that Scott Steiner's got on.
It is certainly a choice.
I'm wondering if he starts wearing like a knee brace or something. Like, why did he switch to pants like that?
No, he definitely. I think he goes back. He definitely.
I thought he did too. Tight. That's why I'm confused about. Maybe he's just trying out a different look. I don't know. He's still. He's in great shape still.
I think it kind of comes across like he's trying to stay modern,
fresh.
Like stay fresh with the times or something.
I honestly think it makes him look older.
Oh yeah, no, it's not.
And like he can barely walk to the ring, it seemed like on this episode. So it's just like I'm getting a weird vibe from it, to be honest.
I would not be opposed to Tomko winning. For some reason, I'm really liking the vibe here from Tomko.
A Tomko Cage title match could be pretty solid. I mean, just story wise, I think we got something there.
Yeah, but if you want absolutely like zero buy rates, that's probably,
right. That's kind of
the match you're doing.
If you want zero,
if you want to get an embarrassing low buy rate for your monthly pay-per-view, just put Tomko and Christian in there. Steiner and Tomko trying to try to lift Joe over the top. But Joe kicks Tomko away, but then willingly goes to the apron.
Oh, slammed against the corner. And look, they're both laying punches here. Joe's trying hard to hang on, though.
He's kind of covering up, but Steiner shoved Tomko.
Oh, well, there you go. There's already some, yeah. There we go. Oh, shit. Joe just pulled Steiner out after he got elbowed by Tomko.
Joe hip tossed Steiner from the apron over the top to the wall.
That's crazy.
We're down to Tomko and Joe. I could get behind this. This seems like it could be a good match. Unfortunately, we have just over 2 minutes left in the show. So.
Right. And as a reminder, Bob noted already, this is now a pinfall or submission, and Earl Hebner is in the ring.
And it's going up against John Cena, The Undertaker.
Literally every top star they've had.
Yeah, all the big names.
In like a 10-year span. Everyone's in the match.
Yeah.
Muscle Buster. Does he hit it? Boom. You
can't pin him. 1, 2, 3.
There you go. Joe keeps his title match.
Okay, so that means officially Destination X is going to be Christian Cage defending the NWA World Title against Samoa Joe.
That's right.
And here comes Christian Cage again.
Christian looking pissed. He lifts Steiner up, tells him to get in the ring. Go do it. Like, come on, let's go. Hey, Tomko, get up. We got to fight Samoa Joe
Why
here.
just attack him from behind? Why did he wait for him to turn around?
Because he's like the scared chicken shit heel. Oh, Kurt Angle's here.
Kurt.
You have a standoff.
They got to get a third, right? No.
Who's it going to be? See, they make it seem like they don't need a third. Oh, shit. We end it with like a standoff, and then we're going to our Adrenaline Rush video package here from the show. All right.
Well, what's even funnier too is that AJ Styles is kind of their fourth, but he wasn't.
Yeah, and Tomko kind of threw Styles out, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, as we're wrapping up our Adrenaline Rush here, what do you think? Oh, wait, next week. He definitely said
belting.
Okay. But the joke is that it's like a melting thing. And we have a ladder match next week as well. And they're teasing Jay Lethal. I saw Sanjay Dutt. I don't know who else is in that match, but I'll just tell you right now, I'm already really excited about our next episode just because there's two fun stipulation matches, and it's going to give us another Destination X match. But before that, what'd you think of this episode, Bob?
I think I'm going to go thumbs up. I liked the opening segment with Steiner kind of explaining why he is angry with Kurt Angle because he took his money. They signed Kurt over Steiner coming back. Mm-hmm. So he's bitter about that. And now he wants to take him out. That's simple storytelling. That's a pretty good reason as to why you do that. And then you can do that and keep Kurt out of the main event picture for a little bit. That's fine. Gauntlet for the Gold was, sure, a little predictable, but Joe and Cage is probably the best bet. Christian still being undefeated. Joe is not undefeated, but can Joe end Christian's undefeated streak? There's some storytelling there. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't anything I thought was bad.
I agree.
So yeah, I thought this was a pretty good episode.
Yep, I completely agree with everything you said. I don't know if I had any issues with this show, to be honest, and I feel like that
they didn't do anything with like Christie, to slow it down.
No, they really didn't. So I got no complaints either. It's a thumbs up for me. Now, is it the show we were kind of thinking they might try to do because of the whole Raw situation? I would say no. But as far as in our world of Impact, it is not a bad show at all. And after a pay-per-view, I think we're already starting to get some more storytelling and match-wise to head into Destination X. So
yeah. So I mean, when you really look at it, you have LAX, their top act as a tag team, making an appearance, and then Gauntlet for the Gold is basically their maybe only way to get all their names on the show.
And I was thinking that maybe that's why that decision was made. And I guess you can't truly knock that if you're trying to like, hey, look at this is our roster. Check out our whole
they're trying to introduce it to everybody. So I don't think that was bad. But when you're going up against a show like Raw and that 8-man is your main event, I mean, yeah, that's tough. Piper coming back from a cancer battle. I mean, Donald Trump. I mean, ugh.
Yeah, it's funny because when I did pull up a Raw report as well, and some reason when I saw Donald Trump's name, I was thinking it was the commercial-free Raw, and I was like, they're fucked. But I think it might have been before, or maybe it's after that. So I can't quite remember, but yeah, pretty tough for Impact. But we will discuss our rating situation on our next episode. So it should be interesting to break that down. I'm looking forward to our next episode a lot, and hopefully this march toward Destination X is a fun one. And I do think we're already off to a better start than maybe we were for Against All Odds.
Yeah. No, Destination X 2007 is a show I have not watched, but I remember a couple years ago watching these impacts and wanting to watch the show, and for whatever reason I never did. But it'll be fun to do that here. Now, as you mentioned, next week we know about the non-title lumberjack match between LAX and Team 3D, and we also have the X Division #1 contender ladder match, where we don't know all the contestants, but you can probably safely say that it's going to be most, if not everybody, involved in the paparazzi production group with Nash and all that stuff. So, like, Shelley, Star, Dutt, Senshi, Lethal, that group of guys. So that's what we know for next week. So be sure to join us for that as we head towards Destination X in just 3 weeks' time. So until next week, for Dallas Gridley, I am Bob Colling Jr., and this has been the TNA Across the Line podcast.